The Toronto Maple Leafs are dealing with some key injuries that's going to result in something that a lot of fans don't want to hear. And the Minnesota Wild are signing a veteran that's perfect for their lineup. I'll get into that later on in this episode. But before I start, I just want to say to the thousands of you watching that aren't subscribed, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We'll be here all season long giving you updates from all around the league. But with that, let's hop straight into the first topic, which is Leafs dealing with injuries. Now, this did come out today per Sheldon Keefe that the Toronto Maple Leafs will be placing forward Bobby McMann on injury reserves. Now, let's just cover Bobby to start with. Bobby McMann was a bit of an AHL journeyman before getting into the Leafs lineup this year. We've seen tiny bit stints of him being with the Toronto organization, but he's really made an impact on this lineup just this season. We've seen Bobby come in, fill out of the fourth line, and he's looked quite good down there. He brings scoring, bit of physicality, a tiny bit of defense. So far, this guy has looked outstanding on the fourth line. So seeing him being placed on injury reserves could be the result of him being out for quite some time. And this also does kind of tie into the second player that's out, that is Calle Jarnkrok. Now, Calle Jarnkrok, who did depart from Friday's practice after taking a shot to his hand, there is concern there for sure, Keefe said. We don't know the extent of it until it settles down. Jarnkrok was visibly upset after the incident, slamming his stick into or glove into the ground as he walked towards the dressing room. Now, you might ask yourself, why does these two bottom six guys really mean something, and why will we be upset? Now, when you do kind of look at this Leafs lineup, you have the top line of Nyes, Matthews, Marner. Tyler Bertuzzi will come back after his one-game absence from the team. John Tavares and William Nylander, Nick Robertson, Max Domi, Calle Jarnkrok, who is currently out, Pontus Holmberg, David Kampf, and Noah Gregor. So with this, you do see a guy like Bertuzzi come back in. Pontus Holmberg stay on the team on the fourth line. But there is one spot on this team that still needs a player if Calle Jarnkrok is out for a significant amount of time or out for just a few games. And this name that is kind of in the mix is Ryan Reaves. Ryan Reaves did publicly come out and make a statement saying that he was healthy, he was ready to play, and the Leafs did have him on IR. Now, they did take him off IR. Reaves is cleared, and it seems like he will be the one to draw back in, unless they might run 7 defensemen. Now, the big thing with this is Ryan Reaves is not playing on this third line. We see Nick Robertson, Max Domi, and like I said, Calle Jarnkrok is out. Now, when you do look at this line has been good. We've seen Bertuzzi kind of come in and out of the lineup, but with the line of Robertson, Max Domi, and Calle Jarnkrok, this line has been great for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They've really started to click, and this third line is one of the better third lines they've had in quite some time. So with this, I think Pontus Holmberg will slide up. We've seen Pontus kind of jump around this lineup so far. He played on the top line with Matthews and Marner. He kind of had a brief stint on the third line, and now it seems like he will be back on this third line with Calle Jarnkrok out, and this is where Ryan Reaves is most certainly going to come back in. Now, there's a couple positives and a couple negatives. Let's tackle the negatives first. Ryan Reaves, in his stint with this Leafs team, he didn't look outstanding. We've seen him come in game one, flexing. Everyone was happy. Brad Treliving was ear to ear with a grin, and we kind of seen his downfall since then. Do I think Ryan Reaves does have an impact on this team? Yes. I think he can bring physicality to this team. I think he can get the morale boost up. And overall, with the Leafs struggling, I think getting him back in this lineup might not be the wrong time. As I said, a guy like Pontus Holmberg can go up. A guy like Ryan Reaves can slide in with Noah Gregor, David Kemp. We've seen this. It wasn't the prettiest, but it is something they can do. The Leafs are currently 4th in the Atlantic, 24, 14, and 8. Is this where I expected them to be at the start of the year? No. Is this where I want them to be? Definitely not. But as I said, adding in a guy like Ryan Reaves might be able to inject a tiny bit of leadership. We've seen Ryan Reaves kind of have his way on the New York Rangers. He did get traded to Minnesota, where he kind of turned his game around, and then we've seen him come to Toronto, and since then he hasn't been the same. I know there's a lot of reports going around. He's wearing his knee braces. He had a knee injury just a couple of weeks ago, but this wasn't really correlated. We've seen Ryan Reaves wear these knee braces much before this injury, so I think this is something that he has dealt with before. I think it's something he can definitely play through, and I hope that he finds his game. Now, if Ryan Reaves doesn't find his game, you can kind of look down to the Marlies for a couple players. Alex Steve is the first guy that kind of sticks out to me. He's been having an incredible campaign with the Toronto Marlies so far. He's scoring goals, putting up assists. He has a great shot. Overall, he's a bit of an offensive guy. So maybe sliding him into the third line, maybe putting Pontus up, putting a guy like Steves onto the fourth, just to kind of, hey, here's the taste of the NHL again. Get yourself in here, inject yourself in this lineup, give us a reason not to send you down. Now, you could also say Ryan Reaves comes in, maybe he pots a goal, maybe he puts up some assists, but my main thing is just make sure the opposing team doesn't score and to make sure the opposing team are hurt when they're going back to the bench. But what's your guys' thoughts? Do you think Ryan Reaves gets his last chance? Do you think the Leafs should honestly just send him down to the Mariners, trade him off, whatever it may be, give a guy like Steves a chance, or do you think I'm just out to lunch and you could put a guy like Reaves on the top line and see how it goes? But let's hop into the second topic today, which is Avs signing Zach Parise. Now, reports did come out from Elliot Freeman that they're hearing that Zach Parise is getting closer to signing his contract with the Colorado Avalanche, which would be resuming his NHL career. Now, when you do look at Zach Parise, this is probably a name you've heard. His name's been around. This is a guy that's been in the NHL since 2005. Zach Parise is a bit of a shell of himself. We've seen him have an all-right season last year with the Islanders. In 82 games, he put up 34 points, including 20 goals. Now, 20 goals for Zach Parise, this is something that he can do. We've seen it throughout his career. You can see that it's season 29, 33, 25, 19, 15, 28, 25. This guy can score. Now, at the age of 39, yes, Parise is getting up there in age. But with this Avs team that is kind of struggling to find some depth scoring, I know they're still looking for a center. Sorry, Avs fans, this does not fix the center problem. But I think signing Zach Parise is going to cause more of an impact than a lot of fans are looking at. When you do kind of look at the Avs lines, Drouin, McKinnon, Rantanen, Wood, Colton, O'Connor, you can kind of look through. They got a guy like Lehkonen back. Ryan Johansson's still here. Cogliano. I think this is the perfect opportunity to maybe put Zach Parise onto this third line. Lehkonen is just fresh back off an injury, and then you see a guy like Ryan Johansson that has been struggling a tiny bit this year. I think adding a veteran guy like Zach Parise, a guy that's been into the Stanley Cup Finals, a guy that knows what it takes to win. He's been around the league. He was originally with the Wild. Then you can kind of see he went Wild, Islanders, and now he will be on his new team. I think this is where you slot him in, as I said, on this third line. Give Cogliano a kind of a chance to get on this fourth line, kind of use his leadership, his speed, everything like that to kind of just dominate fourth line talent. Maybe just give them a little bit of a harder time defensively. But I think putting a guy like Zach Parise, who has the capability, even at the age of 39, to still pot you 15, 20, 25 goals even in the right situation. I think he fits in perfectly. This is a guy that you can put into the second power play unit. And when you kind of look at the Avs, other than a lot of the top talent in McKinnon, Rantanen, Cale Makar, Valerie Natushkin, which is not with the team right now, you can kind of see a drop-off. In 48 games, Ryan Johansson only has 18 points. Miles Wood, 17. You see a guy like Cogliano with 12. There isn't a lot of depth scoring. You do have 11 goals out of a guy like Ryan Johansson, but other than that, he's the only guy that you can really get a lot of scoring in this bottom six. If you just add a guy, as I said, of the caliber of Zach Parise, a guy that can score, get you big goals, still bring the leadership, I think he fits perfectly on this third line. Yes, I know the big problem here is you kind of need that second line center or even a third line center. Ryan Johansson hasn't been the best this year, and Ross Colton, who has been fine, doesn't look like a true number two at the point. So I think getting a guy that you can fit into the second line center is the next step for the Avs, but you are picking up a guy that is an experienced veteran, a guy that can help this organization for absolutely free. I know it's going to cost a tiny bit of money. Maybe this is $900K, $1 million, $775K is the vet minimum. Whatever it might be, this is the ideal sign-in, and honestly, it kind of helps push the Avs to the next stage of bringing the leadership to get them to the Stanley Cup Finals, win another championship, and is ultimately create a dynasty. Now, I know Zach Parise is not going to be a part of a dynasty. He is 39, he'll be 40. I can't see him playing until he's 45. But you get Zach Parise now. You don't worry about next year. You don't worry about 2 years from now. You don't worry when he's 55. You get Zach Parise now. So what you guys thought? Do you think Parise is the perfect fit for the third line? Is this the situation where you say, screw it, let's put him up in the lineup. Let's put him on the first, the second, get his footing back. Let's see what he can do. Let me know down in the comments. But with that, let's hop into everyone's favorite topic, which is comment of the day. The comment of the day comes from Mr. Relaxation saying Sammy looks relaxed, best form from last game. Now, I completely agree with this. We've seen Samsonov's best game. This was a tight game against the Winnipeg Jets. It was a 1-0 win in OT. We've seen Samsonov really just stand on his head. We've seen a 2-on-0 breakaway, and we've seen him stonewall two separate guys. Now, with the Leafs dealing with some injuries, especially to a guy like Kalle Järnkrok, who is one of the better defensive guys on this team, Sammy's going to have to really step up, continue his dominance until Joseph Woll gets back after All-Star break, or we could honestly see a tandem between Samsonov and Jones till Woll gets back as well. So what's your guys' thoughts? Do you think Ryan Reaves draws back into the lineup? Do you look down into the AHL for maybe a guy like Alex Steves? And what's your initial reaction on the signing of Parise? But with that, that'll be it for this episode. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment. We'll be here all season long, and take care.